crash course in how to do LinkedIn well. LinkedIn is an incredibly powerful tool if it is used right, but there are two big mistakes that people often make with LinkedIn. Number one is they mistakenly think that it's still, I guess, what it was when it first started, which is an online resume, an online CV, a place where recruitment agencies would go to stalk their next client or their next candidate. Problem number two is they see it as social media because it looks, feels and sounds a lot like social media. You know, all of the interfaces are basically social media interfaces, but it's so much more than that. And philosophically, your approach to it needs to be so much more than that. The approach needs to be to treat it as digital business networking, not social media. This is a place where you present your personal and professional brand in a way that helps to attract potential clients. And potential clients are what we call prospects. So what we need to do is measure how effective we are being on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is really good for this because it comes with a baked-in methodology to help you to see that you're going in the right direction. Because like anything else in life, it takes time to build up a network and to build up effectiveness. So it's nice to have these kind of little course corrections. And LinkedIn has got this thing called the Social Selling Index, the SSI. So if you go to linkedin.com/sales/SSI, well, you will find your own personal score, which is built up over several different measurements. Each one of these 4 measurements is scored out of 25, so your total score will be out of 100, so you get a percentage score. And really, the magic starts to happen when you can get your score north of 70. Don't let your SSI rule your life. Don't let it become the thing that actually, starts to control everything you do. But do use it as a little bit of course correction to see that you're going in the right direction. And you will see when you go on there that each one of these metrics gives you a bit of guidance as to how you can kind of start to turn the dial on your SSI. But the first one is really about your professional brand. So let's start there. When you go onto your professional brand, you're looking at your profile and making sure that your profile is congruent with the kinds of clients that you are trying to attract to your business. So think about who those clients are. Think about the problems that they have in their world. How do you solve those problems? Does your profile look like the sort of person that actually might solve those problems? So the first thing you want to do is you want to look at the photography on there, the imagery that you've got on your profile. So the About section, you have the option to change the banner at the very top. If you haven't really curated your account very much, then you'll have the default banner, which is this sort of bluey, greeny kind of just image in the background. What you want to do is you want to change that for a photograph or some sort of imagery that reflects your personal brand or your professional brand or your company if you are playing as part of a company and you are either playing in teams or hunting in packs, depending on how you want to look at it. The next thing you want to look at is your profile photograph. Now, your profile photograph should not be the sort of image that you might use on other social media, because as I say, philosophically, this is not social media. So you don't want a photograph of yourself on holiday or with your arm around your significant other. They might be lovely photographs, I'm sure they are, but what you want is something that actually reflects the kind of professional image that will help you to get business. So a professional head and shoulders shot. I suppose if you're in the events business or something like that, then maybe having a photograph of yourself on holiday next to a palm tree might be right. But for most of us, it's going to be a professional head and shoulders shot that shows us off as the professionals that we actually are. The second thing you want to look at is your About section itself. The headline is not your job title. The headline is a brief description of the sorts of things you do, and think about the keywords, the things that actually people might search for if they're searching for somebody who does what you do. In the About section, don't make it just a simple kind of litany of your features and your benefits. Don't make it all about, I suppose, what you've done in your past life. You've got the CV section down below to be able to do that. Think about, again, the problems that you solve. What is it that you actually do for your clients? Make your About section about that, not just a little bit of an ego massage where you talk about yourself. And finally, on this whole section about your profile, think about the recommendations down at the bottom. Never be afraid to ask people that you've done business with for a recommendation of your work, because that can be like Trustpilot or TripAdvisor for your personal and professional brand. Then think about your digital outreach. Think about the sorts of connections that you are making. When you're making connections and you're sending connection requests, this should not be done in a generic way. This should not be like spam where you're just firing it out at anybody. Think about people who actually look like they might be potential prospects for you, or indeed potential strategic partners. people you actually might want to be able to do business with, because they might be able to target the same sorts of people as you, so you can align yourself with them. And then do an outreach that actually speaks to them in a personal tone of voice. It shouldn't ever be automated. It shouldn't be a bot, because people spot something that is inauthentic straight away, and it needs to be genuine, because sales is a people business. It's all about know, like, and trust. It's all about finding people that can connect with one another. So when you have that connection, the first thing you should do is you should say something that actually helps them. Maybe something along the lines of, "Thank you very much for the connection. I appreciate it. Is there anybody within my network that you might want to be introduced to? How can I help you?" Think about Emerson's law of compensation. This is very simply, the more that you give, the more you get. Now, anybody who's done networking recognizes that this law of reciprocity, of give and take, is a really good ethical way of doing business, and what's more, it works. It's a really nice way to approach anybody. Then once you've actually got that connection, the next thing you want to do is try and take it into an offline conversation. Get on the phone, because then you've got more than just the written words to be able to go on. You've got tone of voice. You can start to forge that connection properly, really understand what's going on in their world and whether or not there's any reason to do business. And if you start to get the sense that maybe there is, well, then you take that conversation into the next stage, which is really what we call a discovery meeting, which is where we discover if there genuinely are reasons to do business. And that is a crash course in how to do LinkedIn and do it well.